has it ever happened before or since? A Guardian reporter saying something nice about a Fox News reporter. But in that moment, a beautiful friendship was born. We just didn't know it yet.
We didn't. It took a few years for us to allow the walls to erode. But no, I remember it was very kind of serendipitous. I was watching Fox, and in that era, I didn't do that much. I was constantly on MSNBC and CNN. And you had your Fox show, and I remember you started interviewing Republican senators, and it was adversarial, even a little mean, but very professional, but mean. And for me, as someone who was always on MSNBC, where Democratic senators are treated like high priests, like the paragons of virtue, never asked a hard question, I said, wait a minute, I kept hearing on Fox that it's this deeply partisan network that only feeds people what they want to hear, and yet here's a 9 p.m. host, prime time, with big ratings, who's beloved by conservatives, pounding Republican politicians with hard questions the way she's supposed to as a journalist. And yeah, I remember Politico called me when they were doing a profile on you and said, hey, you've been praising Megyn Kelly. That's really weird. You're on the left, she's a conservative. And I said, you know, for me, journalism is way higher for a journalist than partisan affiliation. And she does the sort of thing that I think we need more of and respect. And I remember people on the left were horrified. How can you praise Megyn Kelly? She's a Nazi. And I was like, what? Megyn Kelly? She's a Nazi?
I was a Nazi before it was cool.
Exactly. You were. But yeah, that's what, you know, I think that's one of the things we share that, again, took a while for us to realize.
That's exactly right. So the first thing I remember you reached out to me on, or you said something publicly on, was an exchange I had with then Vice President Dick Cheney. And actually, we have the soundbite. I don't know. Let's see if this works. We haven't played a site yet at one of these. Let's see. This is the moment.
Rarely has a U.S. president been so wrong about so much at the expense of so many. But time and time again, history has proven that you got it wrong as well in Iraq, sir. You said there was no doubt Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. You said we would be greeted as liberators. You said the Iraq insurgency was in the last throes back in 2005. And you said that after our intervention, extremists would have to, quote, rethink their strategy of jihad. Now, with almost $1 trillion spent there, with 4,500 American lives lost there, what do you say to those who say you were so wrong about so much at the expense of so many?
No, I just fundamentally disagree, Megyn. You've got to go back and look at the track record. We inherited a situation where there was no doubt in anybody's mind.
All right, you get the hint. You see how it goes. But if you heard it, he called me Reagan. So he got rattled. And let me tell you something. I was a little scared to ask that question, too, because Dick Cheney is scary.
He's scary. He has remember Halliburton, and
yes.
Yeah, he was called Darth Cheney,
yes,
which is a very appropriate nickname. But they were rattled. You saw them there, and because I don't think people. That, by the way, this is called journalism, and this is. I think it's so important. You know, you were talking before about how unpopular media is, and it is. Our profession is held in extremely low esteem, deservedly so. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think 27%. Is too high. I mean, it's barely above, you know, like syphilis and Congress, yeah. And it's deserved.
It's below cockroaches, below.
Yeah, exactly. And but I think it's so important to realize that when you hate the media, and you know you should because they're so dishonest and deceitful and destructive, journalism remains really important. We need journalism. It's not that we're against journalism, it's we're against people who pretend to be journalists but who would never do anything like that. And I think that's such an important value to affirm.
That's what's so galling to me, is it's like, now I'm in sort of a different business. I'm still a journalist, but now I'm doing a lot more commentary too. And I have nothing but disdain for the people who won't do that. It's not that hard. You don't want to do it. You're kind of hitting your own side. You know that. I mean, I'm on Fox News. I'm well aware of how, like, Roger Ailes at the time feels about Dick Cheney. But you have to force yourself to, because you have, you know, integrity. It's the job that you signed up to do. And you just never see it. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying you don't watch MSNBC and ever see them give their side any sort of guff. And we've really suffered as a result, because, like, in my lane, I don't have access to people on the left. Leftist politicians won't come on my show. They would never subject themselves to that kind of tough questioning. And the left that does have access won't do it.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. I was talking to Emily before we came on, and we were both talking about how. And I was trying to describe to her my worldview. You know, people are always trying to discover, is he on the left? Is he on the right? And I think people have a hard time knowing your ideology with precision either. And for me, you know, I decided to become a journalist, not a politician. I'm not a party operative. I could have been that. I'm not a spokesperson for a politician. I could have been that too, as you could you. I decided to become a journalist. And for me, that entails obligations. And I think the primary worldview that I have being a journalist is that it's always dangerous for human beings to have lots of power and lots of money with no pushback, no scrutiny, no journalistic examination. And so whoever has the most power, that's who I'm going to be adversarial to, not because I dislike them, not because I hate them, not because I want to destroy their reputation, but because our society needs people with power to be accountable, to have to answer hard questions no matter who it is.
It's very hard to do, I have to say, because it's like, I'm so relieved that Trump got elected that I'm completely rooting for him, but you have to be honest about, his pitfalls too. And so the way I've handled that on our show is I'll bring on somebody like you who will be very critical of, Kilmar Abrego Garcia and how that was handled, for example. And I want the audience to hear your point of view, and I can easily defend Trump on it as I have with you, but I want them to know this actually is controversial and there's a very robust set of criticisms of Trump here, and let the audience hear them. But that too it's just so rare. If you want to hear an actual debate that's substantive between smart people on any place, on cable news or broadcast, you can't.
First of all, the format doesn't permit it. You have to speak for 8 minutes in between commercial breaks. Nobody can have a real debate. People have to speak in cliches. It's very difficult with that little time. Independent media allows a lot more time. I think we argued about that, or about, the student protesters for 20 minutes. Argued in a very, civil sense. And we were able to, immediately after move on to something where we agreed on and not have it affect our friendship in any way. And I think that is what we're missing. But the only reason that works is because, I think I have credibility to do it. I'm somebody who defended Donald Trump when I was very much associated with the left, knew Russiagate was bullshit from the start, just journalistically false. I thought it was a dangerous scandal. And I went around, saying that everywhere. I was virtually Tucker's co-host. I was on that show so much,
Yes.
And you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Tucker, Glenn Greenwald. But, and I've defended him on his views on Ukraine. So I think when I'm criticizing him, people understand it's not coming from a place of partisanship or reflexive, desire to attack Trump. It's just, and I think this debate inside the MAGA movement, inside the right, about Ukraine, about Israel, these things are really healthy. You don't want a mindlessly unified population behind a leader. You want people saying, wait a minute, you campaigned on this. I supported you on that. When is this going to happen? Mm-hmm. And I think the conservative movement has done that as well as anybody. Wait, where are the Epstein files? Why is this war still going on?
Exactly.
And that is really healthy and important.
That's exactly right. And I think Republicans are very good at infighting. They're excellent at infighting, much better than the left, which the left sticks together. I have to say, they get their people in line. That Nancy Pelosi, she rules with an iron 200-year-old fist. So there's something to be admired there.
With a very healthy stock portfolio that always increases as she stays in Congress.
It's amazing how they've called the stocks, almost like an NBA basketball player at a poker table. Buy gold and get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of this year, and Birch Gold can help you own it by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they'll send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer just for you. They are waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider diversifying your savings into gold. Text MK to the number 989898 for a free info kit and to claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchase before the end of the month. Again, text MK to the number 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.